Question. Would sports still exist in a future golden age, especially combat sports like boxing or MMA? Or would their focus on winning, dominance, and rivalry be seen as too aggressive for a society rooted in peace and unity? Well, I grew up with a father who was very fascinated by boxing. And I don't know if he had ambitions about being a boxer himself, but he never made it. But he seemed to want me to be a little interested in boxing, and I absolutely had no interest whatsoever. Even as a child, I looked at this. Here are two guys. They get into this ring. They wear these stupid-looking shorts, and then they pound each other in the face with these gloves. I mean, I couldn't imagine anything more stupid than this. So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps I have a personal bias against boxing, I don't know. But I certainly can't see these kind of sports existing in the golden age. And the reason for this is that if you think back at it, right? If you go back to the Olympics a couple of thousand years ago, the Greeks, when they started the Olympics. What were many of these sports? The javelin, you're throwing your javelin. They were preparations for war, for mortal combat. That's what many of these sports are really geared to. You're training your muscles, you're training your abilities so you can be a more effective soldier. And in the golden age, that's just going to fade away. So you're already seeing that almost at every Olympics, there are new kinds of sports that are recognized as Olympic sports. And I think this will continue in the golden age. And I think many of the kind of sports we have today will fade away, and others will come up that are not as aggressively competitive, that are not training for combat. And I think also there will be a shift. I mean, if you look at it, really, the reason for reviving the Olympic Games by the people who did this back in, I think it was the 1800s, they wanted to create a way so that the nations could come together. People from many different nations could come together and interact with each other, and it could hopefully spread this mutual understanding that we are all really human beings. And by young people meeting at the Olympics in a spirit of friendly competition, it could hopefully promote some kind of peace and understanding. What happened was, of course, that with the advent of the Soviet Union, sports became a political tool for proving the superiority of communism over the decadent West. And of course, that West was, especially America, was very quick to jump on that bandwagon. And so that's why you had, during the Cold War, I mean, there was basically war in the field of sports between the Soviet Union and America. And that, of course, will also fade away in the golden age. So I think there will be a huge shift where would their focus on winning, dominance, and rivalry be seen as too aggressive? Yes, absolutely. It will just fade away. And there'll be a new focus on this, as I said, a spirit of friendly competition. You're getting together. Yeah, there is a medal, but it's not really the medal. It's the, as they say in Buddhism, it's the journey, not the destination. It's not winning. It's being together, meeting other people in a peaceful, friendly atmosphere. That's what's going to be more important. And, I think the whole thing of records is also going to fade away where it isn't as important anymore. I mean, you grow up, you have a talent for running. You spend your whole, big part of your youth to train to win this Olympic medal, and you shave 1/1000th of a second off the Olympic swimming record. 1/1000th or 1/100th of a second? And then you feel, yes, I'm the fastest swimmer on the planet. I mean, I just think in the golden age, people are not going to think that way. It's just going to be not going to be that important. I mean, really. Why did one swimmer swim 1/100th of a second faster? Maybe his nose wasn't as big, or some other body part wasn't as big. You know, whatever it is, there was less water resistance. It was not really skill and ability. So yeah, I think sports will be very much transformed in the golden age, and the whole focus on winning and competition and especially national pride. I mean, I think basically you can say what's going to happen in the golden age is that there's going to be more of a focus on humanity, upon the individual, the importance of people. And if you look at it today, you know, I remember when I lived in the United States, I enjoyed watching the Olympics, not all sports, but some Olympic sports, I enjoyed watching that. But in America, there was always this focus on how many medals have we won? Have we won more medals than the Soviet Union or more medals than China? Now, China is also on the bandwagon of proving its national superiority through sports. And I just think that's going to fade away because people are going to be more important than national pride or proving some kind of superiority. One of the most, I think, worst examples of this competitiveness was the Olympic athletes, the female gymnasts from the East Germany, from DDR. And there are documentaries, you can probably find them on YouTube, about how they gave them steroids at a time where they didn't really know what the effects of steroids would be. And some of them got so many male hormones that they developed heart disease, and there was at least one athlete who died from it. And others were severely handicapped by it, had very severe side effects of this. And it was all done to prove the national superiority over West Germany. So those kind of things are just going to fade away, and it's going to be looked at as really, really primitive. I mean, really primitive. As primitive as, you know, hand-to-hand combat in the Middle Ages and this and that.